Top 20 supervillains of all time. Supervillains are necessary to balance any comic book equation, and movies based on comic book superheroes have never been bigger or better. Without a doubt, it's safe to say that each new film or franchise requires a supervillain that's just as memorable. On today's video, we're going to list for you the top 20 supervillains of all time. This list only focuses on tried and true villains to ever grace a movie screen. We're talking 100% pure evil. Will your favorite villain make it to our list? Before we get to that, please be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification for more interesting videos since we post new content every day. Here are the top 20 supervillains of all time. Number 20, Erik Kilmonger. Erik Kilmonger could probably stand out as the most likable and enduring villain in the entire MCU. He essentially has a superhero's origin since his father was killed right in front of him, and his royal heritage was denied to him. He used those tragedies to motivate a relentless dedication, training himself to the peak of his abilities before striking. While his actions were questionable at times, his motives were great for Wakanda. He wanted Wakanda to open up to the world and share their vast resources. Although the idea seemed reasonable, his main goal was dominance and not leadership. It's safe to say that the apple does indeed not fall far from the tree. Pure evil bred pure evil, just as in this case. Number 19, Loki. Loki is the powerful force in Thor's corner of the MCU, but we never really see him much in action. The king of the frost giants and the biological father to Loki, he has super strength and ice powers, but he's still no match for the sneakiness of his own son, Loki, who manipulates events to get Loki to attack Asgard and Thor. But just as Loki is about to take out Odin, Loki takes out Loki instead, simultaneously killing the frost giant king, making himself look like a hero. Certainly a non-ceremonious end for the Frost King. Back when Jean Grey was only the psychic Marvel girl, the writers of the X-Men series decided to stun readers by making her the most powerful mutant yet. Number 18, Dark Phoenix. Jean's exposure to lethal radiation resulted in the Phoenix, a physical form of the cosmic and otherworldly Phoenix Force. Eventually, her heightened powers corrupted her, driving Jean mad and wiping out alien worlds by accident. Wielding telekinetic and psychic power beyond any of her friends, Phoenix ended her own life to prevent more death. Although Jean's villain character couldn't hold a candle to the comics, the Phoenix Saga remains a fan favorite. This supervillain's name may make you not take him seriously since it sounds pretty dumb. He isn't all that bright, but his wit earned him a spot on our list. Number 17, Taserface. His face does have a presence, and despite Rocket making fun of Taserface's name, he still holds enough wits to lead a mutiny among Yondu's crew of Ravagers. Taserface is big, mean, ruthless, and conniving, and brokers an uneasy alliance with Nebula to take Yondu's ship. Up next is a supervillain that left the city of Asgard crumbling to dust. Number 16, Surtur. Surtur, who played a fiery demon in Thor's world, is hell-bent on destroying everything and everyone in his path to bond Thor and friends towards a common goal. Although he was an irrelevant character, he helped bring the team together by leveling the playing field as the monster all Asgardians fear. He appeared in the opening act and destructive finale when Thor and Loki summon him to invoke the Ragnarok prophecy to defeat Hela. While this list is comprised of physically dominating adversaries, it's the ones who use their brains over bronze that are pretty scary. Number 15, Helmut Zemo. Despite being human, it's almost more impressive what Helmut Zemo can accomplish without any super strength or magical abilities. He was able to cause catastrophic damage with just his intellect. It was Helmut who masterminded the civil war between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. Knowing he could never compete against the Avengers at a battle of strength or combat, he instead outsmarts them and devises a plan to pit them against each other. His conniving instigations resulted in a more dangerous outcome than any sorcerer could have come up with. When a bad guy turns against family, havoc is bound to unravel. On the bright side, all this chaotic madness happens outside Earth. Number 14, Vulcan. If you're a die-hard X-Men fan, you've probably heard of the Summers brothers, codenamed Cyclops and Havoc. They're both able to launch powerful energy attacks. Scott in the form of beam from his eyes, and Alex released in waves or along his arms. But it's the third Summers brother, Gabriel, who can call himself the most powerful, since he's able to control energy in nearly every form. Gabriel can deflect Cyclops' eye beams, resist physical attacks, and even hijack or absorb the abilities of mutants around him. When he feels betrayed by Professor X, he takes the name Gabriel and turns those powers against his own family. Number 13, Loki. Loki is probably everyone's favorite trickster. Loki's first appearance was in Thor in 2011, but has been seen to make an appearance on a bevy of Marvel movies since then. He started as a fully fledged villain who is super fast, super skilled in combat, super strong, and that makes him super dangerous. He's also a talented sorcerer, able to perform magic spells. What makes him stand out is his intelligence and unpredictability. He's always up to something and trying to play someone for personal gain. When they said roaches could survive the end of the world, they were probably referring to Annihilus. Number 12. Annihilus. Annihilus emerged when an advanced race from Marvel's Negative Zone seeded barren worlds with alien spores. They couldn't have predicted that one spore would grow into Annihilus, a brilliant insect warrior, thanks to his creator's technology. Annihilus set out to destroy any and all life he saw as a threat. Over the years, that would come to include the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and nearly every other Marvel superhero team. It's hard to know what's scarier, the cosmic control rod he wields, granting him super strength and immortality, or the 200 superpowered aliens plucked from the Negative Zone's many planets. Being the only supervillain from Spider-Man, he became one of the best newer additions to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 11. The Vulture. In rebooting Spider-Man for the third time in a decade, Marvel decided to dig a bit deeper to find a villain who hadn't already been done to death on the big screen, and landed on Michael Toombs, aka The Vulture, for Spider-Man Homecoming. The Vulture is decidedly street level in his approach, but that's exactly what makes him work. Toombs' backstory made the motive even more interesting. As the father of Peter Parker's teenage crush, he takes the girlfriend's angry dad trope to a whole new level. Number 10. Dr. Doom. Not every villain needs a superpower or alien upbringing to be effective, and Victor Von Doom is the perfect example. Mixing his mother's mysticism with old-fashioned science, his brilliance soon landed him a scholarship to America. But when an experiment left his face horribly scarred, he blamed his friend and colleague Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four. Taking over his home country of Latveria, Dr. Doom would become one of Marvel's most brilliant and most villainous figures. Sci-fi is always interesting, but when a plot is written behind relatable historical events, it makes it stand out even more. Number 9. Red Skull. Easily one of the evilest additions to the list, Red Skull is among the first bad guys to appear in the MCU. Red Skull has some ties to the Nazi regime, and his storyline hits close to home as it incorporates actual world events. He even claims to be worse than Hitler, and we know how evil he was. Number 8. Apocalypse. Apocalypse existed 5,000 years before mutants emerged into the Marvel Universe. Born with gray skin and blue lips in ancient Egypt, his tribe left him to die. Instead, he was discovered by a band of warriors who recognized the boy as En-Sabah-Nur, which meant the first immortal mutant. Over the years, Apocalypse would take a new name and reveal more mutant powers than nearly any other Marvel character. Able to reshape his body, strength, speed, and nearly everything else, there's no challenge this villain can't change to defeat. Number 7. Ronan the Accuser. First appearing on screen in 2014 in Guardians of the Galaxy and again in 2019's Captain Marvel, Ronan the Accuser is among the toughest villains in the entire MCU. In the former, he's a Kree fanatic whose family was killed in the Kree-Nova War. He refuses to listen to his Empire's peace with Nova Corps of Xandar, and instead goes on a genocidal spree of horrible proportions against all Xandarians. He laid waste to Drax the Destroyer without even breaking a sweat, and can only be defeated when the Guardians are working as a team and have the Infinity Stone against him. Number 6. Galactus. Galactus was originally created to fight the Fantastic Four. What makes this character interesting is the fact that Galactus isn't an alien or a god, but a bit of both. Before the Big Bang created Marvel's universe, an alien fled the death of the one that came before, fusing with its essence before the new one took its place. Galactus was the result, a godlike embodiment of the cosmos that most beings can't even perceive, who has to feed on living planets to stay alive. His scout, the Silver Surfer, may get most of the recognition, but Galactus has the power to do just about anything. He can transform matter, teleport, create life, revive the dead, you name it. Known as the goddess of death that overpowered Thor and Loki, she was the reason why Asgard was left in shambles. Number 5. Hela. Since her first appearance in Thor Ragnarok, fans were shaken to see Thor face a villain like this one. When Loki and Thor are faced with the death of Odin, a spell is broken that unleashes Hela back to Asgard where she once ruled. The concept of a secret sister takes Thor and Loki off guard. As soon as Odin passes, she appears to the brothers and presents her plan to take her rightful place on Asgard's throne. To prove her point, she easily crushes Thor's hammer. She's extremely powerful, prompting Thor to assemble his Revengers to take her out. A sentient machine hellbent in extinguishing humanity is all I have to say about this next villain. Number 4. Ultron. Ultron was initially an AI created by the good guys to protect the planet. However, once the invention came to life, the AI decided that humans were the #1 threat to Earth and needed to be eradicated. What makes Ultron such a threat is his ability to manipulate technology and control things like world's nuclear arsenal. That, and also the fact that he isn't actually a living being, and more so the result of more terrifying artificial intelligence experiments. Can he really be that evil if he intends to save the planet? We saved the top spot for the best villains. If your favorite villain hasn't received a mention yet, stick around as we unveil our top 3 picks. Number 3. Ego. Peter Quill's search for his father was a key part of the story in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. In unveiling Ego, one of the most powerful villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ego is essentially a god, encompassing an entire planet and capable of manifesting himself however he wishes. His master plan aims to expand his reach across most of the known universe, wiping out pretty much all other life in the process. To sum things up, he's a psychopath who's killed hundreds of his own children in his quest for power. Number 2, Dormammu. Dormammu is one of the most powerful villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Loaded with universe-destroying power and on a mission to fuse our world with the Dark Dimension. He's known as the Lord of the Realm of Darkness. In Doctor Strange, Dormammu wants to absorb as much of the universe as possible into his Dark Dimension. As an immortal with apocalyptic powers, Dormammu can give power to others and is undeniably one of the most imposing, powerful threats we've ever seen on screen. Number 1. Thanos. Is this a surprise, really? When you collect all the Infinity Stones and wear the Infinity Gauntlet, that means you wield a fair amount of power. Enough power to erase half the known life in the entire universe with the snap of your fingers. Now that's powerful. While other villains may expand across multiple films and/or wreaked havoc for centuries, nobody had the level of impact that Thanos did. He took on the entire Avengers and actually won. Despite his great combat skills and strength, the Infinity Stones are the ones that gave him the super boost. He has the ultimate power, and that's why he made it to the top of our list. Did your favorite villain make it to our list? Tell us that too! Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share too, you comic fanatic! If you really enjoyed this, turn on the bell icon so you get notified every time we post new content to our channel.